So if you have a pen and paper, all right, I'm going to give you guys a tactical tip on how to create a budget on your marketing expenses and if you've been in my Medicare Monster group that I joined with Brock for a little bit, you'll know this.
That's right.
So, I think a lot of you guys are limiting your growth. And there's a group in particular that I already got a meeting with that's coming to my office on August 11th because I think we've had some good conversations that will help, and this is part of it. So on your piece of paper there, write down CPA, so cost per acquisition. On top of that, stop limiting your freaking growth, by the way, please, okay?
I knew that was coming.
Sorry.
I didn't even know what CPA was till I got with
So
Medicare
cost per
Bob.
acquisition. All of you might sell different products, okay? But let's say you're like me and you focus on Medicare products. So a lifetime value of a customer is how much? $1,200, $1,500, whatever you want to pick, okay? A lot of times I talk to agents and you guys are cold calling or you have a call center with 3 or 4 agents and you're dialing really shitty, cheap leads. And you got to think about it in 2 ways. So on that CPA, do like a line to the left, line to the right. And on the left-hand side, write down call center costs or your fixed costs. Even if you're not a call center, this applies. Okay, so that's your fixed costs. On the right-hand side, write down your media cost or your ad spend or your ad costs, however you want to use those terms. Okay, if a lifetime value is $1,200 for a Medicare policy, stop trying to do volume at a $150 all-in CPA. How many of you, raise your hand, would spend $600 to make $1,200? Every frickin' time, right? And
You didn't raise your hand, we're going to have to kick you out. Sorry.
Yeah. Please leave now.
Yeah, so like a lot of you, and I'll try to articulate this with a small amount of time we have, but I think you guys will get the point. Like if your targeting higher, if you want to do more volume, target a higher CPA that you're still comfortable with doubling your return. So invest in yourself, invest in lead gen, invest in an agency that's going to market you, invest in lead sources that are going to, direct mail, whatever it is. Like I'll talk to someone, they go, man, we did 200 policies this month, which is fantastic. And I'm like, man, what's your CPA? It was $80. I'm like, well, shit, write 400 and spend 160, right? So as you're trying to come up with a marketing budget, like say you're doing an annual budget for yourself, have a target cost per acquisition that you're comfortable with, okay? And then set a policy target. So if it's 1,000 policies, then you can back into what your budget is and take your fixed costs and take your media spend, and you now have a marketing budget. This might sound really simple to a lot of you. My first 2 or 3 years operating, I could not articulate that. So when I was working with lead partners and they would say, what's your marketing budget? It was such a loaded question to me because if it works, I'll spend every dollar with you. But if it doesn't work, I don't want to spend a single dollar with you, right? And so that's what helped me was really understanding lifetime value of what I'm selling, my cost per acquisition, and breaking it up in those 2 categories, fixed cost versus media. So that's more of a tactical tip. I don't know if hopefully that's helpful, but if it's
No,
good.
that is so
If
good.
y'all didn't write that
is
down,
dead
make sure
on.
you buy the video and go back and watch that
There you
again.
go.
Because what Bobby just gave you was incredibly valuable.
It was, and he's taught me a lot. Like we went to lunch one day, and he goes, "Can you go back to my office with me?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, what's your CPA?" And I go, "I don't know." And he goes, "You don't know?" And I go, "No, I try to write as many policies as I can per call." And he goes, "What?" And he goes, I'm going to show you what I'm spending on leads a day. Well, I knew what we were spending per lead, and we weren't ordering. I mean, we didn't need that many leads. And he pops up his Facebook, and I go, "Now that's for your month, right?" And he goes, "No, babe, that's for a date." And I go, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he was like, "Let me show you how it turns." And then he went through what he just went with you guys. And I am telling you, that is the smartest advice that you can take. And when somebody tells you to take out a pen and a pad, and they're of these caliber people, always do it. Yeah. It is huge. So thank you for sharing that.
You got me wondering what the number was that was on the screen, by the way.
Oh God, it was gigantic. It was ginormous. It was like, well, it was to me. Yeah. It was like, and he didn't have that many reps at the time in the office. I think he had like 4. You didn't have many that were right out front. The other ones were doing your
It was like 12 reps,
Okay.
I think,
but I mean, he was spending, what was that, like 1,000? I mean, he said, "I'm getting ready to dial it up." And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack. And he calls me the next day and he tells me what he's dialing it up to. And I was like, okay, I can't talk to you anymore. All I worry about, so when I talked to Landon for the first time, he goes, well, what CPA do you want to stay around? I go, well, I know where that goes. I'm more worried about lifetime value and return on investment. I don't give a crap what the CPA is. And I was telling Beish that, and Beish goes, I'm telling you that's a mistake. And I started realizing he was correct.
Well, they go together.
Yes.
Because your ROI is your
Yes.
lifetime value minus your CPA. And if you are going to do a call center, you have reps, and there is a capacity cost to their time.
Yes.
And so you want to invest. You can only call so many people. You don't want to waste their time. Now you can be profitable cold calling and stuff, and if that's whatever it is. But if you do the CPA analysis, you won't have a problem. You can do a budget. You can raise money. You can have a target at, say, your first year commission's an average of $300. Say you do want to break even at $300, and then you go raise money. It just helps you really put budget out and not grind your wheels and not get production.
And that's why you're not a downline. I mean, you have educated us just like we've hopefully educated you guys. Y'all, you need to be partners with your FMOs. That's the only thing I'm going to say there.
Yeah. Justin Brock just texted me and said, what did Beish spend on leads a day? So there you go. He still didn't get an answer yet.
So I was spending so I rode the Facebook wave. I was spending about $800,000 a month. Now my budget right now between the 3 digital players is $1.7 million a month on leads right now.
Now we're talking. Jeez.
But we have 80 reps, man.
Oh, it was only $800,000 a month before, you know.
Dream big, be big.
I love that. That shows, goodness gracious. I mean, that's another level.
Again, this guy runs direct sales for AmeriLife, one of the largest distributors in the country. And when we started working with him, he was in a strip mall and had about 5 agents sitting outside. I mean, this strip mall, this office was maybe 30 feet wide. I mean, there's maybe like a barber shop next door. I mean, this was not glamorous.
Will work for food.
Pretty much. Yeah. So again, dream big, guys. When they say it, this is it.
I know our staff sitting out there, we're still in a strip mall, Taylor. When are we going to move on up?
There you go.
That's true.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, which is crazy because we could do this all day, and I feel bad that we didn't allocate enough, okay? But I want to do one more thing, okay? I want you to each share something, 30, 60 seconds each, of whatever you want to share that you believe is going to bring the most value to all the attendees before we leave. Not that you haven't already, but just to add a little icing on the cake as we wrap it up.
I would say, I think this weekend I've noticed how many people are curious, and there's very few that are courageous enough to come and ask a question. I would say that all of us are pretty much an open book.
Yes.
We recognize that we may have knowledge or encouragement that you may need, and so introduce yourself. Reach out on LinkedIn and say, met you at 8%, I have a question. I mean, we're pretty good about answering those kind of questions, and we like being there. And I would give you one other thing for salespeople that I've used, because I've coached them through mindset on my team for years. And it's a little bit of what Tim Grover said yesterday is you have a circumstance, and then you have a thought about that circumstance, and that makes your feeling. And so what I see all the time are the people that we're training, they get into this, they lose the mental battle, right? It's a lot of pounding calls, you get rejected. That's just a feeling. And so when you're on the phone with someone, you have all the authority in the world to have a different thought about that. And I always tell them, when that client that was irritated and hung up on you, 10 seconds later, they've forgotten that you ever called. And if you can just be aware that that mindset, the thought that you have about the activity that you're taking every day impacts your emotion, and from your emotion comes all of the actions and results, you will win a mental battle. And when I can get that through to someone on our sales team, we see their increase in production fly.
That's good.
That's good.
It's great stuff. I'll be real brief. We truly run our office by the golden rule. Do what you say you're going to do. I'll add a little bit more to that. And, obviously, treat people like you want to be treated. But some kind of 101 stuff is, do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and follow through. Deliver on what you tell people. It's okay to say it's bad. It's okay to say it's good. One of the things that David likes about working with me is there's no bullshit. I'm like, David, here are the facts. It's good, it's bad. We don't recruit by temperature. It's not hot with 2 T's. Be straight with people, and they appreciate that. Be honest. And follow through and do what you say you're going to do, and you will do very well in this business. And the last thing I'll lead you with, when we started this working together 20 years ago, did I envision myself on this stage having sold my business this week, our baby? I don't know, but dream big and put your head down, go to work, always have the long view. Don't cut corners. Don't try to do the shortcuts. Always look and say, what is the right way to do this? And know that I'm going to be doing it right in the end, and I'm going to be taken care of in the long run, because that's how you'll get there.
Good.
Boom.
Real good.
Love that.
So I'll do two things real quick. 30 seconds, Cody. Come on, bro. We met. I mean, all right, but
90.
I'll try to go.
We're
quick.
talkers.
Yeah. Sorry. So David Manaya, who is my executive director, he was my top
Oh, I love
producer. Yeah. David's my bouncer, my driver, my bodyguard, my best friend. He was he's the best.
What's the reason?
Yeah, it's time to go, Bob. That's on camera. No, I'm just kidding. He was in my office. So I'll hurry up, Cody. So last Thursday night, it was like 8:15 at night. We're in the office, and David knows everything about my deal that I did. And he comes in at 8:15. He never lets me leave before him. His work ethic is great, and that's where I'm going with this. But he comes up to me and he goes, as a joke, like, Bob, why are you still here? And he takes out money. He's like, are you broke, bro? Like, you need some money? And I said, man, there's only one way. I only know how to work one way. And so going back to what he said is work like you're broke, have the long picture, and then when you do start making it, like Danielle said, don't apologize for it. Because there is a lot of 10, 12-hour, like, from your perspective, it's like, wow, man, they did this or that. Like, dude, guys,
But it's not accidental.
Sexy. Like,
it's not accidental.
And it's not sexy. Like, we have all been in a cubicle for 12 hours a day for 6 straight days during AEP doing drug plans before we had a support staff, right? Like, I mean, it's not all sexy while your journey, but the last thing I'll say is also, though, enjoy the process, not just the destination. I know that's corny, but you really do learn every step of the way. And so that's it. Just work like you're broke and have the big goals in mind.
Love that.
Good.
Love that.
So first of all, parents, know that your kids are hearing everything you're saying and seeing everything you're doing. I had no idea until I got to see my son and my daughter-in-law work in our business. It was so great going through this process and having integrity go, man, I know they're related, but they are rock stars extraordinaire. And you don't really get to appreciate that until you hear what they have to say. And so I'm just so grateful for our team. And, a lot of it's learning what you do right and be proud of it, but owning what you've done wrong. Lauren brought up some really great things about culture today. And, I used to be a one-man shop. Taylor knows it. I used to run ops. I used to run marketing. It was like the, rooster watching the hen house. If we are from Texas, which that's why my hair is going flat. It's hot hair. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is because there's been times that my staff has wanted me to do something, like fire the top salesperson. Yep. But that might be the only person we had. I couldn't fire that person right then because it's what generated revenue. So you pick the time to do those things and you make it work for you. When you get bigger, then you can have more of that. My best friend of 57 years is here with me today. She wanted to see me speak. And she said, I love y'all's industry because I've never seen so many people compete against each other and love each other. Yeah. She said, that's awesome. Really and cool. I think that's a person on the outside looking in. Yeah. And so, again, I just can't say it enough. I love this community. I love everybody that I've gotten to dance with, hang with. You and Lauren are rock stars, your whole team is, and I appreciate y'all doing this. I know y'all have other things y'all could be doing, so thank you for that.
Yeah, give these guys a hand, okay? Wow. Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're gonna love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there.
My favorite interview is probably Kobe, because we have a relationship and we have a connection together from what era he comes. It would probably be Kobe. Then probably a couple of these mob stuff that I do and some of these military.